Hello everybody and welcome to the Tuesday edition of Video Clips. First of all, I'll remind you the Diet and Lifestyle Intervention course starts in June, and every couple of years we have the celebrity instructors like Dr. Neil Barnard and Dr. Ralph Moss and Dr. Alan Goldhammer and Dr. Esselstyn, Dr. Anthony Lim, a lot of people who I think you would enjoy learning from. So we have a lot of packages that you can do to combine diet and lifestyle with some other things. So send me an email if you'd like to know what your options are. And we only have like 6 weeks till summer, thankfully. I'm tired of winter. I'm ready for some summertime. The second thing is that I've set the schedule for the rest of the year for the new courses that I'm going to teach and then videotape. And those are thyroid, PCOS, food, exercise, mental health, diabetes, cognitive health and Alzheimer's disease, your amazing microbiome, health benefits and detrimental effects of cannabis, time management, and irritable bowel. And so I'll have that posted online by the time that you're watching this. And this is a unique opportunity if you take these courses this year where I will teach it live before I commit it to a video platform, so you can participate in the live classes. And then I just had to share this from the news. So our Columbus newspaper, we wonder why people eat the way that they eat and why they're so confused about nutrition. So we have this section of our newspaper. I don't know how often it comes out, probably too often. It's called Healthy Living. There's nothing healthy about it. And so right on the inside, you see this title here, Soup Gives Spuds a Healthy Kick. Okay, so you know, I just tout the health benefits of eating potatoes and starch and all that sort of thing. So this recipe is for loaded baked potato soup, and I'm going to read to you what it says. It says, this healthy loaded baked potato soup recipe is inspired by the comforting flavor of fully loaded baked potatoes with bacon, cheddar, sour cream, and chives. To make a vegetarian version of this potato soup, omit the bacon and use the no chicken broth. Serve it with a green salad and crusty bread to clean up the bowl. And so it's advertised as being fabulous, right? This is such a healthy version. Okay, so let me tell you what's in it. There's canola oil and bacon, and reduced sodium chicken broth, sour cream, sharp cheddar cheese. And so here's the nutrition breakdown. Per serving, 304 calories, 13 grams of total fat, 6 of it saturated. This is Soup Gives Spuds a Healthy Kick. Now, to their credit, they do say you can leave out the bacon and the sour cream, but how many people do you think actually believe that you have to do that in order to make this a healthy soup? And the sad part about it is if you've ever had really good potato soup that didn't have all the fat and all the terrible stuff in it, it's delicious. You don't need cheese and you don't need oil and you don't need bacon in order to make a really delicious potato soup. You just season it really, really well. So anyway, I just thought I'd share this with you because it goes to, I know some of you write to me and say, I just can't believe that people think that this that they're eating is healthy, and how can people think that bacon is healthy? Well, here's how they think bacon is healthy. This is why they think it's healthy, okay? So anyway, a couple of other things I wanted to cover just from the standpoint of questions and that sort of thing. You guys are always sending me, what do you think of this study? What do you think of this study? Here's a link to watch a video. What do you think? You'll notice when you get 25 minutes in, the person says this and this. And so here's the deal, guys. We get a few hundred of these every week asking us to watch this video or read this article. We can't possibly do that. I mean, I'd have to put a second story on this building and fill it with people if we were going to do that and analyze everything. So what I try to do is I try to address this type of thing in these video clips and in the newsletter, and then we address it in all the content that we have, and also with educational programs that will teach you how to look at this stuff yourself. So if you go to our website at wellnessforum.com, wellnessforumhealth.com, and you click on, there's a short video, it says something about what we do here that you can watch. It's only like 8 or 9 minutes, and it'll tell you how we can show you how to look at this stuff and figure it out for yourself so that you're not frustrated, because I know you're frustrated when I write back and say I can't do it. I don't want you to be that way, but you don't need to be helpless either. You don't need somebody else to do the analyzing. How about if you learn how to do the analyzing? Wouldn't that be a better idea? I think it is, all right? So if you're interested in that, pampopper@msn.com. And then last but not least, I want to cover a question that I must have gotten it 100 times this week, which tells me I should probably do something about it or say something about it, and that is, I converted to a plant-based diet, and I know I'm eating a lot better than I did before, but I'm not losing weight. So what could be going on? And let me tell you the reasons why people don't lose enough weight on a plant-based diet. And along that line, I want to say something too, because I have people telling me all the time, well, oh my gosh, if I keep losing weight, people are going to think I'm sick, or they're going to, you know, people say that, is there something wrong with you? You're dropping so much weight. You really do want to aspire to be real lean. And so here are the things that interfere with it. The first thing is not having fat awareness. And what I mean by that is really not being conscious of fat in the diet. You know, a Laura bar has 10 grams of fat. A tablespoon of oil has 14 grams of fat. Now the goal here isn't to eat fat-free, but the reality is if you eat a Laura bar and 3 tablespoons of olive oil every day, oh my gosh, you're talking about, you know, several dozen grams of fat just in those 2 things, right? And this is very calorie dense stuff. So that's the first thing, is you really have, I don't think counting calories and counting fat grams and that sort of thing is useful at all. But I will tell you that if you don't have some awareness of calorie dense food versus not calorie dense food, high fat food versus low fat food, I use this example in the diet fiction book, and it might help illustrate the point. So there's a Kroger store not far from my house, and they have those Simple Truth brands, their house brand of Simple Truth, which they have some good stuff. But one of the Simple Truth crackers, a serving of crackers is 5 crackers that has 70 calories and 5 grams of fat. Now, never in my entire life on the planet have I ever eaten 5 crackers. I usually eat 20 crackers, right? And you probably do too. So you can see what would happen if I ate crackers that had that much, that were that calorie dense and that fat dense. Okay. Now let's add another dimension to it. Hummus. You can buy like that Sabra hummus in the grocery store. It has 5 grams of fat per 2 tablespoon serving. All right. So if I sit down and I eat 20 crackers and I eat 3 or 4 servings of hummus, because 2 tablespoons of hummus really isn't very much when you look at it on a plate. If I do that, we're talking about an enormous amount of calories and fat. Now let's do this a different way. Go to Trader Joe and buy their little rice crackers, tamari flavored rice crackers. 37 crackers has 110 calories and 1 gram of fat. Get the fat-free Oasis brand hummus. And if I went crazy one day and I ate 74 crackers and a whole tub of hummus, I'm under 400 calories with 2 grams of fat. So do you see the difference in having some consciousness about the calorie density and the fat density of the food that you're eating versus just, oh, it's plant-based, so it must be okay. So that's the first problem, and it's the leading problem we see when we look at food journals. Problem number 2, not eating enough food, believe it or not. Because when you don't eat enough food, your body, here's what your brain says. Spring came late, this human's probably not going to have enough to eat, so we'll slow down the metabolism and conserve energy so that the person doesn't die. So you have to eat enough food, not enough I'm not talking about eat more of the calorie-dense crackers and the high-fat hummus. I'm talking about eating regularly, meals 5 or 6 times a day with a nice big pile of calorie-dilute food, all right? Third thing, and this is the one you never want to hear about, but I'm going to tell you anyway. You got to exercise. You got to exercise. You got to do it 5 or 6 days a week. You got to do it for 45 to 60 minutes. You're going to have to get in your target heart zone. You're going to have to do some aerobic exercise and some strength training exercise to burn off fat and build muscle and increase your metabolism. That's the bottom line. So there are all kinds of other things that can be going on, but for those of you who are feeling really frustrated, and I sure did hear from a lot of you this week, which is why I decided to say something about it, it's probably either you're not really aware of calorie and fat density, you're not eating enough food or often enough, or you're not doing enough exercise. And usually when we get those 3 things right, the weight starts to pour off and you can get down to your ideal weight and stay that way. Okay, so I hope that's really helpful. And then the topic I chose for today is treatments for tennis elbow. And actually we could put treatments for any condition that you want to talk about here, because it all turns out to be about the same when you're talking about musculoskeletal health. But according to a recent meta-analysis, 11 different treatments for tennis elbow were all shown to be no better and in some cases worse than doing nothing at all. The analysis included 36 randomized placebo-controlled trials with a total of 2,746 patients. So there was short-term, medium-term, and then long-term follow-up. So during short-term follow-up, the only treatment that had any effect at all was corticosteroid injection, and that does provide some immediate relief. The injection did reduce pain, and that's the reason why people love it, is you get like instantaneous response. But in the long term, patients experienced worsening pain. And the other thing you should know about this, and it wasn't part of the study, but there's an article in the Health Briefs library for those of you who are subscribers that you might want to read, is that cortisone injections, when you're using it for joint pain, actually degrade the joint and make it more likely that you will need to have a joint replacement instead of just physical therapy or exercise or the other things that you might do to relieve the pain. Now at midpoint, laser therapy and local Botox injection reduced the pain, and at long-term follow-up, extracorporeal shockwave therapy provided some relief from pain. But the only treatment that increased the grip strength at all for people was laser therapy. The researchers wrote, quote, "At best, all treatments provided small pain relief while increasing the odds of adverse events." In other words, everything worked for a little while and then it all went south over time. There was nothing permanent about any of this stuff. The patients who fared best in this study were the people who were given placebo treatments. Nothing done to them at all. Most of them experienced complete resolution of their pain within 4 weeks. So actually, if you look at this study, what it basically says is that if you do nothing, you'll get better in 4 weeks. And if you start doing these interventions, you will get worse over time and end up with a chronic condition. It's kind of like the chronic degenerative disease business, where if you look at high glucose levels, for example, and you do dietary intervention at a real early stage, you can reverse the whole problem and never really deal with it. Whereas if you start taking metformin and undergoing traditional treatment, you can often end up worse off. You will end up worse off over time. So anyway, same thing here. Now for those who do have lingering pain and they don't resolve in 4 weeks, there are alternatives. There are good physical therapists who know how to help people resolve pain to remain pain-free, and not only that, to keep more pain from developing. Because if you have problems with an elbow, or you have problems with a shoulder or a knee or a hip or whatever part of your body is hurting, sooner or later that pain will spread to other areas of the body, because everything in the body is connected. So if there's something out of balance that's causing you to have pain in your hip, sooner or later that same out of balance problem is going to cause you to have pain in other areas of your body too. So I talked about her before, our fabulous business partner Eileen Kopsaftis, who is the best in the country at achieving these objectives, which is solving pain, remaining pain-free, keeping other pain from developing. I've referred people to her who are, one woman I referred to her was unable to stand up, and breathing hurt her at the time that she started working with Eileen, and within a very short period of time she was out of that pain and back to normal, and still has not had a recurrence, and that was a couple, 3 years ago. Well, Eileen lives in upstate New York, and she's only one person, and she can only help one person at a time, one-on-one. So that's why we created with her an online platform that is designed to help people solve their own pain issues. Really what you just need to be taught to do is to do very specific movements depending upon the body part that's affected, so that you can resolve your pain and achieve symmetrical balance in the body and not have more bad things happen. So if you want to get rid of your pain once and for all, or you want to just learn how to stay pain-free for life, it's not a real expensive program. So send me an email at pampopper@msn.com and I will email you back with some details. So anyway, that's all for today. As usual, hit the subscribe button, pass this on to anybody who you think would enjoy watching it, and I will be back to you on Thursday with more news.